Coming up next, we are looking forward to this one. The multi-time Canadian National Amateur Champion, Eric Basran from Surrey, BC, in his fourth professional fight, taking a little bit of a step up here tonight as he takes on Andres Jimenez from Celaya, Mexico, 6-5-1. You see the tail of the tape. Eric Basran will enjoy a lengthy reach advantage, which he'll certainly enjoy here tonight. We're ready for our co-feature. Let's send it back up to David Neiman.
Ladies and gentlemen, the time has come for the penultimate bout of the evening. Now making his way down to the ring, a warm welcome please for Andres Vargas.
Mi nombre es Andrés Jiménez Vargas, vengo de Celaya, Guanajuato, México. Un aproximado de 13 años, 13, 14 años más o menos. Las ganas de sobresalir, de mantenerme físicamente sano. Antes era gordito y las burlas, el bullying, pues por querer bajar, ¿no? Y pues ya. Sí, sé que es bueno, lo reconozco, tiene buen talento, pero pues bueno, ambos tenemos las mismas herramientas, ¿no? Él tiene manos, yo tengo manos y pues vamos a darle. Una pelea emocionante, una pelea que le va a gustar a la gente, creo que se van a quedar con un buen sabor de boca.
Well, the 6-5-1 Andres Jimenez Vargas makes his second appearance in Canada after fighting to a draw with Paul Ispas back in 2019. More recently, however, Vargas had two reasonably impressive outings back-to-back in 2021, going the distance with Zaid Yam, who was 10-0 at the time, and 2 months prior, going the 10-round distance with the 16-2 Brandon Leon Benitez. But Vargas believes that, like his mentor, Robinson Castellanos, whose gym he trains at every day, he can overcome some early career stumbles to work his way into contention down the line. It is certainly a tall task, and it will not be an easy task here tonight, as he'll take on one of the top prospects today in Canada.
And now making his way down to the ring, please welcome Eric Basran.
Eric Basran, I'm from Surrey, BC. I'd say my biggest inspiration is my family, because they motivate me, to be honest, to be the best I can be, because I'm doing it for them, you know? So I'd say they're my biggest motivation, biggest, you know, yeah. When I was 18, I won my first national championship, so I was the youngest on the team, and from there on, for 4 years, I was just traveling the world, fighting, went to world championships, Commonwealth Games, did a lot of tournaments. I actually qualified to go to the Olympics, but tore my labrum. Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate, but got the surgery, didn't want to stay for another 4 years for the Olympics, so just turned pro. I saw a little bit of him. I've seen he doesn't have a typical Mexican style. He likes to box a little bit more, which is down my alley, so I like that.
The multi-time Canadian National Amateur Champion Eric Basran is fighting for the first time in Ontario as a professional after a stint in the unpaid ranks that took him around the world. In fact, the Commonwealth Games bronze medalist from 2018 was supposed to be in Tokyo after qualifying for the Canadian Olympic team, but a torn labrum threw those plans into disarray. And tonight, he continues his thus far flawless professional journey, notably with another fight already scheduled for less than a month from today. So Steve, you know what that means. Not only is he looking to win here tonight, but ideally he wants to get out utterly unscathed so he can keep that on the schedule. We're Excited to get another look at Eric Basran here tonight. Ready to meet the fighters. Send it back up to David Neiman.
Ladies and gentlemen, Red Owl Boxing proudly presents our co-main event of the evening, scheduled for 6 rounds or less, in the junior welterweight division, sponsored by Aero Facility Management. Our 3 judges scoring the bout at ringside: Alan Davis, Jasper Kujavsky, and Martin Dalida. And once the action begins, our referee, Dave Dunbar. Introducing first, on my left, fighting out of the blue corner, and tonight wearing black with gold trim. His official weight, 136¼ pounds. He enters the ring with a record of 6 wins against 5 defeats and 1 draw, with 1 bout coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of and representing Celaya, Mexico, ladies and gentlemen, here is Andres Maravilla Vargas. And his opponent on my right, fighting out of the red corner and tonight wearing white and red. His official weight, 137½ pounds. He enters the ring with a record of 3 wins with no defeats, 1 win coming by way of knockout. From Surrey, British Columbia, introducing the 4-time Canadian national champion, Eric Basran.
Gentlemen, we went through the rules earlier in the dressing room. I expect you to obey my commands at all times, protect yourselves at all times. Belt line is here, belt line is here. There above will be considered good blows. Any questions from the corners? Gentlemen, touch gloves now, come out of the belt, good luck to you both.
So here we go. Eric Basran's amateur career ended with a little bit of heartbreak. Of course, the injury that took him out of the Tokyo Olympics. But it has been nothing but success thus far as a professional.
I expect to see some good work from Eric Basran. I've heard nothing but explosive and good things about this kid from early in his career all the way back to his amateur days. He's a hard worker in the gym, and he's going to be quite the prospect here on the Canadian boxing scene.
Well, right out of the amateurs, promoter Yvonne Michel, who was once the head coach of the Canadian Olympic team and is a great talent evaluator, compared Basran to Amir Khan because of his hand speed, his athleticism, and his in and out footwork. Certainly lofty praise. And you can see the hand speed already. It is a lot for Vargas to deal with right now, and Vargas wobbled by that right hand on the top of the head.
I can see why Yvonne Michel would say he has a comparison to Amir Khan. Very fast hands, good combinations. Just hopefully he doesn't have the chin of Amir Khan.
We haven't had an opportunity for Vargas to test that thus far because it has been all Basran just overwhelming him with hand speed thus far. You know, nothing too flush landing. That right hand did seem to affect Vargas. It landed on top of the head. We'll see if Basran can keep that kind of pace for 6 rounds. He is certainly a gifted athlete inside the ring, is Basran.
Vargas, I feel, just trying to kind of weather the storm and let in Basran kind of calm down a little bit before he wants to really open up and kind of mix things up with Basran here.
Well, that's one thing that Basran said that he wants to work on at this stage in his career is pacing himself a little bit better. You know, fighters often talk about adapting to a pro style, and people think, well, that means just getting more physical. A lot of it means you have to prepare for beyond 3 rounds and learn how to pace your style for a longer fight.
And it's not just pacing your style, it's pacing your punches, pacing your breathing, pacing on when you do things and how you do things. Every shot can't be a knockout shot if you're fighting 8, 10, 12, 3-minute rounds, championship rounds. You have to learn to pace yourself, pace your combinations, and place your shots. And I'm sure that Eric Basran, with the extensive amateur career he has, is going to learn to do that as his career moves forward. He has to fight 8, 10, and 12 rounds.
Second kick away of a dominant opening round from Eric Basran.
Esa mano derecha no me la bajes, ya va a empezar a mermar, ya ahorita se le acaba la velocidad. Pero cuando entras, entra moviendo la cintura. Pégale abajo, pégale arriba, combínalo con las dos manos, güey. No te quedes nada más a un solo golpe. Hay que dominarle. Cuando tienes el jab, regresa esa derecha arriba, güey, porque me la bajas. Te puede agarrar por otro lado, güey. No te escucha. Alguien te pone la salida. No te le vienes encima de él.
Round 2 begins. Eric Basran digging into his bag of tricks, the deep toolbox that he has. And coming out southpaw. Basran, in his first international amateur fight back in 2017, beat a member of the Cuban national amateur team. He was only the 5th Canadian fighter ever to score a win over a fighter from Cuba. And you can see, I mean, you can see how this style, particularly over 3 rounds, would be an absolute nightmare to deal with.
It's tough to hit, and then he's coming back with such fast, accurate shots. He's so athletic, Eric Basran. He's got such good boxing skill, and he knows where he's at all times. Even when he's making those fast defensive movements.
Hard shot to the body there from Basran, leaping in with that left hook downstairs. Basran describes himself as a mover boxer, so he's not trying to hide what his calling card is. It is definitely his athleticism. It is definitely his legs. His legs set up, they are his defense, and they set up his offense.
He's in and out so fast and so accurately that they are his offense and defense, Corey.
Stabbing shot to the body there with the lead hand from Basran.
And he's so fast and so athletic. Vargas doesn't even really have a chance to do anything. Yes, he's coming forward, and yes, he's trying his best, but the athleticism of Basran is just too much for Vargas.
Another left hook downstairs from Basran. A lead uppercut. You know, Basran is just one of those athletic talents that can get away with shots like that, right? You know, long-range uppercuts like that, those only work if you're fast enough to get out quickly enough.
Kind of reminds me of the old Roy Jones days, putting his hands behind his back, dodging shots and landing beautiful counter shots.
Remember that Basran does have in mind he wants to come out of this fight completely unscathed. If he could be untouched, which he basically has so far through this fight, even better, because that would keep his next fight on the schedule, which is less than a month from now, back home in British Columbia. And Vargas might have landed his first jab of the fight. Basran tries to come over the top with a big right hand. Vargas wisely ties up as the seconds tick away, and Vargas will go back to his corner and try and figure out a way to slow this man down.
Well, he's gonna have to start doing something. He's gotta throw punches or throw caution into the wind, because Eric Basran is just doing whatever he wants to do in there. He's using the angles, using his jab, jumping in with pop shots. He's doing whatever he wants in there. And Vargas has no answer whatsoever.
Keep chopping down the tree. I like the body shot. It's gonna eventually keep wearing to it. Keep wearing to it. Yeah. Keep chopping down the tree. Keep chopping down the tree. See anything deep?
He's expecting your first attack, your second attack is going to take him out. Yeah. All right?
Keep being creative. Keep being creative.
Keep your eyes open for that.
Yeah.
His hand is in one place. Up. That's it. Then counter on that.
A very relaxed atmosphere in the Basran corner right now. They're pitching a shutout to this point as we begin round 3. And Basran, for as much movement as he's showing in this fight, Steve, really has settled his feet down a little bit, even since we last saw him against Juan Carlos Ramirez on the Kim Clavel, Jessica Neri undercard. Basran seems to have taken some steps, you know, to adapt to a pro style a little bit more.
He has. He's not moving around like in the amateur days. He is making the great spins off the ropes or spins there, and he plants his feet and he'll come back with another hard shot instead of dancing away like the amateur days. He is learning to sit down on his punches.
Basran just winding up with that right hand. And Steve, when you have a fighter like Basran who has these kinds of gifts, you also don't want to take them away from him. You don't want to turn Eric Basran into some kind of, you know, inside fighter or anything like that. You just want to fine-tune what he's bringing to the table, which is exceptional athletic talent.
Basran has a ton of talent, a ton of athletic ability, but when you get to that next level, Corey, when you want to get to the top and be a world champion, you have to learn every angle of the ring, fighting on the inside, boxing the outside. His natural skill and talent will take Basran to the top at some point of his career, but you have to learn every aspect of the game inside that square circle, because at any time, anything can happen.
Well, and you will eventually run into an opponent who just thrives against this style, for example, and then what do you do?
We've seen the Marcos Modena versus Amir Khan. You get a tough guy in there like that against a fast, skilled guy like that, there's still a way to get hit and there's still a way to lose. So you have to be prepared for everything inside the square circle.
Speaking of Amir Khan, we just saw a right hand from Basran. Looked a lot like the right hand that dropped Marcos Maidana to the body. And you can see where the comparisons came from as Basran was turning pro, as he now shows off his skills as a southpaw. Basran, throughout his amateur career, was also mindful of what will come after boxing. He handled studying for a degree in criminology during his amateur career. Vargas now trying to do some work to the body.
And a good spin there by Basran.
Vargas just completely outskilled and outmaneuvered thus far.
And Basran's so fast and so accurate that it's almost like Vargas is becoming a little bit gun shy. He's scared to let his hands go because he knows he's gonna get hit with a counter, and maybe 2, 3, and 4 of them. Basran with his back to the ropes. Great defensive work there by Basran. He blocked all those shots and rolled with them all. Then he really let his hands go as he had Vargas on the ropes.
Cuando entras, puedes pegar esa izquierda abajo. Ahí le tiraste como 4 seguidas con la derecha, pero cuando no te soltaste nada, te fuiste a quererlo agarrar. No lo agarres, tírale.
So we'll see if Andres Vargas can turn things around here as round 4 begins. That Vargas has been going the distance with some pretty good fighters in recent outings against Saeed Yam, against Brandon Leon Benitez, much more experienced fighters than him and frankly than Eric Basran, but the level of talent he's encountering here against Basran is probably in excess of anything he's seen thus far as a pro.
And he's really taking it here versus Basran here, but credit to Vargas, he's still coming forward. He just doesn't really have an answer for the speed and skill of Basran, but he's coming forward. He wants to do something, but he just really can't do something against the speed and skill of Basran.
Nonetheless, Vargas not easily discouraged. We mentioned he trains alongside Robinson Castellanos, who's now retired. Of course, Castellanos, a guy that wound up with 14 losses on his record, but was a contender all the way to the end of his career. I'm not saying that Vargas is going to have that kind of path, but I think when you train in a gym with guys like that, Steve, you kind of develop that attitude. Like, okay, one bad round, one bad fight, that's okay. We can bounce back.
And he has that sort of style. I mean, like, he's been getting picked apart here by Basran, but he's still coming forward, and you can still see in his eyes that he's not out of it. He's moving forward, that he wants to win this fight. He's got to find a way to make something happen here and let his hands go.
Basran trying to whip that uppercut. Into the final minute here of round 4.
Now you see why Yvon Michel had such high regard of Eric Basran. The skill of this kid is pretty impressive here tonight. I haven't seen the skill like this in a very long time fight here in Ontario. Good hands, good footwork, good discipline, great speed. It's my first time seeing him fight live, and I'm very, very impressed with the skill set.
Basran sticking to what he knows best, too. He's not taking unnecessary risks here. He's landing his shots and getting out. He's not developing bad habits just because he could probably stand in front of Vargas and maybe try and bang him out. There's no sense in that.
Exactly, Corey. Again, that goes back to discipline from a long amateur experience. He knows, I mean, if he wanted to stand there and trade and maybe push for a knockout, he could. But he knows that he's going to continue to land these shots and slowly but surely break Vargas down and hopefully get a stoppage. But great, great work from Eric Basran in the opening 4 rounds of this fight here tonight.
Come up, wait a bit, right? Let's do some offbeat attacks now, okay?
Don't be scared to use those uppercuts and hooks.
Yeah.
You got uppercuts in his hands in one spot. It's on the side of his face. Work those uppercuts sometimes. He's not expecting it.
Offbeat attacks. Support, man. Not even fucking gas in the air. We ain't shit.
Here we go, round 5 underway of what has been, thus far, a pretty flawless performance from Eric Basran, as he has just been picking apart the very game Andres Vargas, who, you know, if we were counting punches here, I don't know, is he maybe in the single digits still in terms of what Vargas has been able to land here tonight? I don't know that that's hyperbole.
They're definitely in a lot lower than Basran, but he just doesn't have an answer. He knows he's not fast enough, and Basran is just still so into this fight. He's so athletic, and he's got such good endurance that, I mean, he's so fresh that Vargas is scared to open his hands and let go.
Well, I think in this fight, though, Steve, we are kind of seeing a peek into the future of Basran, particularly on his way up, which is that, you know, if he's in a fight and he can't hurt the guy or doesn't hurt his opponent, we're probably going to see a lot of 120, 108s on the way up for Eric Basran.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you've seen guys like Floyd Mayweather, and even myself in my career, I wasn't a big knockout puncher, but a guy like Eric Basran can outbox and pick apart guys as they keep walking forward all night long and make his way to a world title, because it's the sport of boxing and you can do that.
Basran maybe flying under the radar a little bit as a prospect, even here in Canada. Again, we mentioned the fact that he was going to be in Tokyo. And this is a guy who has wins over fighters from Cuba, a lot of international success. And right now, starting to put a hurt on Andres Vargas, who goes down for the first time.
It was the fast right hand after the jab that really hurt Vargas, followed up by another 1-2 from Basran. Referee Dave Dunbar gives a close look, and he's going to let him go on. Oh!
Hard right hand immediately. Basran all over Andres Vargas, who is completely out of answers. Still willing to fire back, but there is just nothing that he can do with Eric Basran right now.
The speed and intensity of Eric Basran is just too much for Vargas. And you got to wonder, should his corner maybe throw in the towel and call it a night?
Basran doubling up on that hook. Nearly landed that hybrid uppercut. That would have been a beautiful shot. As Vargas just tries to make it out of this round. We'll see what is happening in his corner, because you're right, Steve, there may be some decisions to make in a fight that right now seems completely out of his grasp.
And the speed and power of Eric Basran finally catches up with Vargas. As Basran just pop-shotting Vargas. And ultimately it was the 1-2, but the power and speed of the right hand is what put Vargas down earlier in the round.
Bien vivo, si te sientes tocado, que te cuenten, güey. Quiero que termines esta pelea de pie, que te cuenten, no te quedes
Applause, ladies and gentlemen, this is the sixth and final round.
The sixth and final round now underway. And Steve, I know we lauded the unbreakable spirit of Andres Vargas earlier in the fight, and indeed he's still in this fight, still trying, but that looked like a dejected fighter in the corner to me.
He had looked like he's had enough. He has no answers, and he just, when you're looking across and you see a guy like Eric Basran, and you see how amped up he is, and he's still got lots of gas left in the tank, and he's on his toes, moving side to side, and countering everything you throw at him, it's very deflating as a fighter. Basran hitting him so hard, he knocked one of the logos off the shorts of Andreas Vargas.
I was going to say, Dave Dunbar's getting a workout here too, trying to get out of the way of Eric Basran. But Vargas just cannot figure out where Basran is going to be. Basran just spinning him around, showing him angles he's not expecting. Nice check hook there from Basran.
And even though Basran is playing with him and having a lot of fun, these are exactly the type of fights you need to grow in the game of professional boxing. If Vargas were to come down here and get hit in the first round and lay down, Basran doesn't learn anything. But to have a guy come at you for 6 rounds, let you work on your craft, let you see what works and doesn't work, this is a very good fight for Eric Basran to grow in his career, to become a future world champion, to have a tough guy like Vargas in front of him.
Well, again, we go back to what Basran said his edict was at this stage in his career, adapting to the pro style, learning about pacing. And you're right, if he had just flattened Vargas in round 1, well, he doesn't get that opportunity to learn. Exactly, but over 6 rounds, Basran has shown, well, he can keep this up very easily for 6 rounds.
Exactly, so overall, I mean, it may not have been an exciting war and the crowd might not be on the edge of their seat. This is a very, very good fight for Eric Basran to learn and to grow, to become a future world champion down the line.
Well, I think, Steve, that boxing purists, they can spot talent. And Basran's talent, his athleticism, it jumps off the screen. And yeah, was this a barn burner as you described? No, of course not. However, I think that there are a lot of people that would tune in and want to see more of Basran and are curious as to what his ceiling is.
Like you said, a barn burner, no. But one of the most exciting fighters we've seen here at Red Owl, absolutely yes.
Inside the final 20 seconds of our co-feature here. An exciting and thoroughly dominant performance from Eric Basran, who just put himself on the radar of a lot of fans here tonight.
And it should be a very, very easy night for the judges tonight to score this fight.
Credit to Andres Vargas. Again, if you're matchmaking for Eric Basran, that's exactly what you needed here tonight. He took a knockdown, he didn't fold, he got back up.
He kept coming forward, he had his hands up. I mean, he appeared to have the threat of a tough fighter, which made Eric Basran be his best and put his back to the ropes and feel that pressure of somebody walking you down. And like I said, and I want to beat a dead horse, that's the experience you need to become a great fighter. Having a 10-0 with 10 knockouts in the first round will not make you a good fighter. The rounds and the experience under the hot lights, feeling the pressure, is what makes you a great fighter as you move forward in a young career like Eric Basran.
Eric Basran has excelled in every style of fighting he's ever attempted. He initially wanted to enter MMA, but he was too young to take classes, and good thing for him because he has turned out.
And here's the story of the night, Corey. Basran is too fast, too strong, too athletic, too everything for Andres Vargas. But hats off to Andres Vargas. He stayed in there tough. After the beating he took when he got dropped, he could have easily stayed down and the crowd would have been okay with it. He got up and showed that he has a heart and that he's here to fight. But overall, the skill, speed, and athleticism of Eric Basran was just too much for Vargas, and I really, really look forward to seeing future fights from Eric Basran in the future.
All right, we're ready to make this one official. Let's send it up to David Neiman.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 6 rounds of action, we go to the scorecards. Judges at ringside, Alan Davis, Jasper Kujavsky, and Martin Dalida all see the bout identically, scoring 60 to 53. All to your winner by unanimous decision, Eric Basran!
Well, we said we were looking forward to seeing this guy here tonight, and we certainly were treated to 6 rounds of a spectacular boxing talent in Eric Basran.
He definitely did not disappoint, Corey. A great fight, great athleticism, and I cannot wait to see more of this kid. He's got a very bright future.
And we're going to hear from Eric Basran. He is standing by with a third member of our broadcast team, Mr. George Nasios.
Here with Eric Basran after a very impressive performance. You came out throwing heavy. Were you going for the knockout really early? What was your plan?
No, my plan was to let him feel my power. Hopefully he didn't hesitate, but he was a tough guy.
Yeah, he withstood a lot of big punches. You did knock him down. Did you smell blood in the water there? Did you really want the knockout?
I don't really go for the knockout. Usually, if it happens, it happens. I did put a little bit of the gas on, but he stood up, he fought it. He was a tough opponent.
Now, been a little bit over a year since you turned pro. 4 fights. That was a really dominant victory. What's next? What do you see in the future for yourself? What do you want to do next?
Well, next I got a fight coming up pretty soon, within the next month. So I'm gonna train for that, and honestly, whoever they give me, I'm ready for. I'm not scared of anybody.
And who do you want to thank on a day like today after a performance like that?
I want to thank my family, my friends, my sponsors, my coach, and my whole team. Everybody's been helping me so much, so I just appreciate it.
Congratulations, great victory, Eric Basran.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Thank you so much, George. A nice performance from Eric Basran, who I'm sure we'll be seeing plenty more of in the future, and most likely at the higher levels as well.